Okay. All right. So J1, is J1 here yet? Has J1 entered the room yet? Iron, did you see him yet? All right. Where are you, J1? It's 5:02. There he goes. I spoke him into existence. Ladies and gentlemen, the very talented. I mean, this guy, very proud of his work. J1, what up, bro?
I'm here, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine, man. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm blessed. Staying out the way. How are you, brother?
Same thing, man. I'm doing the same thing as you, man. Now, let's jump right into it. So you are the head of Pandora Hip Hop. Exactly what does that mean? What do you do, J1?
My responsibilities include the day-to-day program, hop, stations, and playlists at Pandora. I do a little bit of R&B as well. I oversee the stations program. The stations decide what songs go in, come out. I also work very closely with the marketing and social teams to work with artists, push out or promote big albums or singles, things of that nature. Pretty much a lot of similarities that I was doing as a program director in radio, but just more so on a national level. I'm not just programming for one particular city. I'm programming over an entire country and stuff like that. So those are usually the nuts and bolts of data. There's always some monkey here and there in special projects.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go upstairs really quick in the crib because I think that we brought in another person. We may have a little problem. So really quick. So J1, let me ask you this. So you talked about you being a former program director, of course, of KYS.
Yeah.
And what are the similarities between what you do, what you did at a terrestrial radio station compared to what you do at Pandora currently?
It's a great question. So really, it just comes down to programming. I mean, at the end of the day, people like to hear hit records. So in radio, we play hits. Streaming, people want to hear the hit records as well. Like my biggest playlists or stations on Pandora are the ones that we're pretty much playing stuff that you're hearing over and over again on the radio. I'm still talking with artists and figuring out what's the best course of action for them as far as their releases and their music and all that stuff. I'm still trying to put together events on behalf of the platform. So a lot of the stuff that we did at radio, I would say the difference would be more so like, I guess, the cultural, where radio is in cities, especially cities that are predominantly black, radio has a special, place in the community. You don't really have that with the streaming platforms. We're very quick and techno savvy when it comes to the music in the platform, but when it comes to things like something happening in DC or something happening in Atlanta, we really can't react how local radio would react.
Right. So do you currently at Pandora have any type of channel or service where you guys are looking for up and coming talent? I see you talking to a lot of people on your page. I follow, and I want everybody to follow J1 too. I think it's Poster Child 1 on the gram. He does some really good work with Pandora on his page, and some also some spiritual stuff that I enjoy as well. I repost his stuff from time to time.
Appreciate
but do you also do anything for like up and coming artists as far as playing their music? Because I see you talking to them a lot.
Yeah. So I do have particular stations that focus on more emerging artists and up and coming artists. So I try to program them there. And then I do talk to a lot of developing artists because you just never know who the next one might be to blow up, So if somebody has some sort of buzz or somebody I'm hearing about or somebody that like a trusted source is telling me about, I'm going to talk to him or her, they may or may not blow up, but you just never know. So I always want to give people that opportunity. And then, you know, I try to program as many up and coming artists as I can, as I possibly can within my constraints, because even in streaming, you can't just overload a playlist or a station with 1,000 new artists. It's similar to radio. It's like people still want to hear good quality music. So, you know, I kind of have to filter out which songs get put on there, which songs stay on there, and which songs got to get taken off.
Okay, so we're here. This is the Music Industry Academy. I'm Easy Street. That's J1 from Pandora, and I want to just encourage anybody to also use that question button right there. If you have questions for J1 in regards to Pandora, what they're doing, or any music related questions, you can put it right there, and I'll ask them those questions. So Jay, I want to ask you this. So, like, what do you look for when you mentioned the word buzz? Like, before you put somebody on your platform or even talk to them on Instagram Live, what is it that you're looking for?
I'm looking for a couple of things. So when I say buzz, you know, of course, you want to see some sort of, whether it's their streaming numbers, social media numbers, but that's not the end all be all, because we all know that stuff can be fixed. It can be doctored. So I also want to, I also want to see, okay, what are you doing like in your own city? So that's why I came back to Atlanta, because a lot of artists are still breaking out in Atlanta, and you might have artists who are actually played on the radio or getting played heavy in the clubs, but they might not have the streaming numbers yet. So I'm looking to reach out to those type of artists, because a lot of times it's not that they don't have a lot or a lack of the backing in their city. They just don't have the resources or the knowledge to figure out like how to work these streaming platforms, because a lot of it is just using art, knowing how to use the technology. But you know, unless you have access to like a Pandora or Apple or a Spotify or whatever, you're going to get lost in the sauce. So, you know, that's what I do. I try to find those artists who have some sort of buzz. They might not have the biggest streaming numbers, but at least if they're doing something in their own individual city, you know, I'll have a conversation with them and explain not only how my platform works, but like how the whole digital game itself works.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. So how important is it for a young artist to understand all this business in regards to streaming? How important is that for artists that's trying to get into business?
It's huge, man, because at the end of the day, streaming is really what saved hip hop and R&B music. I mean, you've been in the game for a minute, so you remember a time when, like, urban departments, what they starting to get away from now, but they were shrinking because streaming was so new. They didn't know how to monetize it, so a lot of people were streaming these records, but the artists weren't getting paid from it. So you had record labels consolidating, people losing their jobs. But once, you know, the litigation caught up with the technology, they were able to figure out ways for artists and labels to get paid, and that's where we're at today. So, you know, understanding one, like how the technology works, because each platform has artist tools that are available to them in which you can use to like control your own destiny. Understanding how you get paid from these various streaming platforms, because there's different ways to get paid from a Pandora as opposed to a Spotify or Apple. You know, there's different structures in place. So understanding the laws and the monetization process, and then also understanding like digital marketing and where you're at as an artist. So like if you're a new artist or up and coming artist and you don't really have any type of streams or any type of traction, you might want to start with YouTube and SoundCloud first, because that's where most, you know, younger people go for music discovery and to find those artists. And then once you build up your platform there, then you might want to put it on an Apple, a Spotify, a Pandora, or the rest of the streaming platforms. So it's just understanding how each platform works, how they pay out, and where you are as an artist.
Okay, J1, I'm going to need you to shout out to Lil Bacon Bear before she gets
Hey,
in her feelings.
got the Bobby V checking in too.
Okay, so You mentioned YouTube, and you also mentioned SoundCloud as a place for new discovery. So you would recommend that young artists that are trying to do this, that they definitely need to be populating their songs on these platforms.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're like a artist that's just starting out, like you're just starting to put out music, you want to, I would put it on a SoundCloud or YouTube and build up my platform or build up my audience there. I always say like these streaming platforms or playlists are kind of like a restaurant. So if I'm in the mood for pizza, I'm not going to go to McDonald's or I'm not going to go to Burger King. I'm going to go to some place that serves pizza. Or at the same time, if I do go to like a McDonald's or something like that because I want some fries or a burger and they try to offer me pizza, I'm going to look at them crazy because that's not what I went there for. Same thing kind of with streaming and stuff like that. Like if I'm looking for a new artist that nobody's ever heard of, you know, that might just have recorded something out of their mom's basement, I'm gonna go to SoundCloud because that's where a lot of those artists live, and that's where they're starting out at. That's where they're uploading their music. Same thing with YouTube because there's not a lot of requirements to upload your music on there. You don't have to have a distribution company. It doesn't have to have a certain sound quality. So you can just put your stuff up there and see what happens. But as you develop and as you get your audience, then you want to start transitioning to the other streaming platforms to expand upon that.
Mm-hmm. So we're here with J1, the head of hip hop for Pandora. Make sure you follow him. Jay, I want to ask you this. We're talking about YouTube and populating YouTube and SoundCloud and, focusing in on these and then moving out. How, compared to when we're talking about discovery of music, which would you say is more popular? Do people go to these platforms to discover more or terrestrial radio to discover music?
It's a great question. So, radio is still the biggest means of putting music out there at the end of the day. And it really just depends on who your audience is. Like a lot of, young millennials or teenagers, they're going to your SoundClouds and your YouTubes to discover music. That's just the reality of the situation. I heard something that a lot of people are looking more at content, looking at regular TV. So that's why you're seeing all these influencers and YouTubers who are becoming so popular, and now they're putting out music and stuff like that. But I would say for like artist discovery, people are going to these streaming platforms, but people are still discovering music off of radio. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody's going to these streaming platforms. Not everybody knows where to look as far as where to find this new music from. So both are important. It's just levels to it at the end of the day. I always tell artists that radio should probably be your last stop once you've exhausted all your resources and hit a certain plateau as far as streaming. That's when you should look at radio because radio still plays a significant role. Radio can take somebody that's buzzing or somebody that's a star to superstar status. It could take a Lizzo from 2 years ago to Lizzo where she is now.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I asked that because and we've seen this before. I'm sure you've seen it. Like artists, young artists, they just want to focus on radio. I want to get my song on the radio.
Yeah.
Play my stuff. But then they forget all about the YouTube. They forget all about the SoundClouds and putting their music in all these other platforms that are equally important. So that's why I wanted to ask you that. We have a question from Tracy Anthony Jr. He says, what marketing methods for YouTube and SoundCloud would you recommend?
So like I said, each streaming platform has artist tools. I don't have the specifics on each one, but what I will say for YouTube, you should invest in doing ads on YouTube. They're very effective. I've done them for my own YouTube channel and they work. They help you get your views. They help you get your audience. And once you learn how to really target the audience that you want, it could get real specific. If you want to target a specific city and put your money on that, you can. And the cool part about it is like you can budget how you want to budget. So if you only got like $100 or $200 to budget towards a particular video, whatever you're trying to promote, then so be it. And you just build up your audience like that. But I always recommend like investing in digital marketing. A lot of times people will invest so much on either making the song or the image of being a quote unquote
and have no budget for marketing.
they have no budget for marketing. How do you gonna get your song out there? So instead of spending, $1,000 to buy a section, you could have $1,000 on some marketing and gotten anywhere from 20,000 to 50,000 views on that thing. So really, understanding like what audience you're going after, how you can market to those people, and budgeting your money accordingly, no matter what type of budget you have. Because again, a lot of these tools or these marketing budgets, you don't have to have a $50,000 budget. I'm telling you, I'm doing it firsthand with my own digital YouTube channel, and it works.
Okay, so what channel is that, so we can make sure we're subscribing and following you?
The same thing as my social media channel, Poster Child J1. So I put up a lot of my interviews and content and stuff like that. But just to give you an example, I started running ads for my channel. I made like a quick 15-second video, and I was able to get over 700 subscribers in the last 28 days.
What?
It works. These subscribers.
Damn, man, I'm getting a pad here. I need to.
Subscribers, because you're not going to a third party or something like that. You're actually going to marketing or whatever channel or device to get these subscribers.